Hello and welcome to this lecture. Now we're going to have a look at making music with some of the Apple loops we have. So in Garageband we've got loads of loops on the right hand side here, and we can actually go through and just click some of them and see which ones we like. They're actually all royalty free, so we can just select through and use any of them in any way, shape or form in some of our tracks. Up here as well, we have this little area where we can actually go through and select some of the loops. So let's click on instrument to start with, and let's choose percussion. And here we have all the percussion. So we can just go through and have a listen to some of this. You can narrow it down even further by hitting tambourine. Click it again to close it, shaker. Click it again to put it back, conga, and bongo. Okay, if you want to go back, all we have to do is hit percussion again, and it will reset this screen here. Let's try piano. And we can use any of these loops. One thing to mention is the loops that have green next to them are MIDI loops, and the ones that have blue next to them are audio loops. So MIDI loops means you can basically change the notes around. So let's just drag one of these MIDI loops over. If we drag it under the instrument, it will create a new instrument here. You'll notice it says grand piano. And let's just drag one of these blue ones down underneath. You'll notice it's actually created an audio track. We know this because it has these waves, which are audio waves. So let's just delete these and hit backspace to delete these tracks. Let's go back up here. And now let's click on genre. So let's hit piano again and it will reset these instruments. Now we have genre. Rock, blues, country, jazz, funk, indie, chill wave. Loads of different ones as well. So there's quite a few experimental loops we can try as well. And then we have moods, so we can try electric, relaxed, dark. So there's loads of different loops we can choose here. Hit this X to close it. And let's just zoom out. You'll notice there's a few other things as well. Here we actually have something that says loop pack, all genres. Depending on if you've actually downloaded these loops, you will have a few more packs here. To do this, go over to Garageband in the top left, go down to Sound Library, and make sure you download all the essential sounds. So remember, just go to Sound Library and download the essential sounds. I've got them all downloaded here. I actually have quite a few loops. I have been collecting them over the years because I do use Logic Pro as well. And some of these loops are used in Logic Pro as well as Garageband. Okay, we have this button here as well, which allows us to actually kind of look at the loops in a different way. So let's just zoom in here. And this button here will just change the way the loop library looks. So here we have genres, instruments, moods. So we can go through like this way. I personally prefer this button clicking way. It just seems a lot easier to do. We can also have this heart button here. So if we choose this one here, we can go through and actually select our favorites. I haven't actually selected any as favorites yet. So say this uplifting disco guitar. I can hit this button here, which will make it a favorite. And now when I hit this heart button here, you'll have my favorite. So you can actually select your favorites. Because the thing about this, there's just so many different loops here. It's good to choose some favorites. So hit the X to go back. So I recommend going through, have a listen to loads of them and just select them as your favorites, and then you can actually quickly find them instead of searching through all these tons of loops. We also have scale up here. So this is both. So we can have major, minor, neither, any. So let's try minor. So this will be minor scales. I like the sound of that. Then we have major. So this should generally sound a bit happier. So generally majors are happy and minors are sad. Huge oversimplification, but it's kind of true. Okay, let's try neither. So this would be more experimental stuff, world music perhaps. I'm not going to play all these loops because there's so many of them. I do recommend just going through. We have both. Interesting. Okay, or we can just search here. So let's search for jazz. Then we should have some jazz sounds. Okay. Now we're going to actually create some loops just from these Apple loops. So let's create a beat, just some Apple loops. So let's find instrument. Let's reset this and let's find synths. Let's try this. Let's drag this under. Okay. And let's close this. And now let's try percussion. Let's try drums. So that's the thing with Apple Loops. It's just about trial and error and just going through, really. One thing you can do as well is just set up a loop of what you want it to play over. Just play this. And really what you want the loop to fit over this. Just going to loop some of these by selecting over here, and you'll notice that a loop arrow will appear. Just drag this over like so. Get a bit of a groove going now, just really, really simple. Okay. One interesting thing we do, hear this synth here, just going to solo this with the headphones. If I move this to another MIDI track, you'll notice that actually changes the information. It plays it on another instrument, so you can use this information but play it on different tracks. So I'm going to keep that going. So I'm going to play around with some of this now because we've got the loops, but I'm going to use the same instruments as before, some of the same instruments as before. Just going to delete the ones we're not using as well, backspace to delete, just so it sounds a bit similar. And now I'm going to continue the drums we used before over. And then we've got some loops going. Okay, let's close the loop library by hitting this loop button up here. And let's just play the first section we made earlier. And now the new loop section. So we get a bit of arrangement now. So we can just hold down Alt to drag stuff over, just to copy it over. So I'm going to drag this over. Use the first space. We have to be careful with some of the notes here. The notes might not fit perfectly, but this is something we're going to look at later on. But now it's just getting some songs together, getting some grooves together, just making stuff into a track really. So here we have a bit of a groove going. Then I'm just going to bring this over here. Then, yeah, finish it with this here. Okay, so this is basically mostly from Apple Loops. So there we go. Let's have a listen to this and just hear what this sounds like now. One thing I did there, you might have noticed, was actually change the key. Change it from C major to D major. You might have noticed it changed in sound. Have a listen now. What Apple Loops do is they change to the key of your project. It's one of the best things about them. So say we're in, let's try this one. Let's try F major. You notice it sounds different now. And back to C. So you notice there's still a lot more that needs to be done. There's clashing notes. But Apple Loops are a great way just to throw stuff out there, just to get ideas going. Because now I've got this kind of funky sound in my head. And I've got kind of a funky idea built from these Apple Loops. And like I said, they're royalty free, so you can use them, you can manipulate them, you can change them, you can mess them around, move them to different instruments, add effects, change the key. Really, really simple, interesting thing to do. Remember, just go to this Apple Loops button, top right, click through, drag them over, and play around and mess about. And that's really what Apple Loops are about. Having fun and making some music quickly. You don't have to use this in your tracks, but you can use it to give yourself ideas, stuff to think about, and just move around and start making music. So thank you for watching this lecture. Hope you found it useful. It's all about Apple Loops, and I'll see you in the next one.